Here we go. So as I was saying before, I'm joined by Martin and Kiki. I published their stories in A Journey of Riches, Your Inner Knowing. And it's been it's been out in the public on Amazon, 99 cents. All proceeds go to Jules Children's Home. The book is also $9.99 as an audio book, or a paperback for $15.50. And you know what? The book is #2 in Australia in 3 categories. How awesome is
Wow.
that?
Amazing.
Cool.
Clapping.
This is your first time being published, Kiki, and English is your second language.
Yes, it is. My first language is Greek because I'm from Greece.
Amazing, but you wouldn't know that with the way that you write. It's something that you dedicated yourself to. You put a lot of time and effort into it, and you strike me as the type of person that once you dedicate your attention and focus to something, that it's just a matter of time before you excel at it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's so much.
Where do you think that quality comes from?
It depends what quality is for anybody. I mean, that's just me. I just wrote about me in the way that expresses myself. And I just put myself in this chapter, John. It's totally me inside. And it's not just a story. It's not just something to say to others like, a fairy tale or the opposite of it. It's something to show others that, of course, they can resonate with many parts of it, but also they can be triggered by it. Both ways, I believe it's a blessing. So whether somebody is inspired or triggered, it's the same thing. Because the trigger for me is a blessing in disguise. So many people may say that, okay, I see that. Oh my God, the same things happened to me or similar situations I lived in my life, or challenges or struggles or whatever. And other people may say, I don't think I agree with that. No. How could this happen? I mean, I'm sure she could have done something different than that. And maybe they can get disappointed or even a little bit angry. And that is fine. So, because either way, either you resonate with something, you feel so inspired or happy or seen, or that somebody else has the same experiences like you, or live something totally different, totally opposite from what you expected, it's the same blessing. It's the same inspiration in 2 different maps for me. Because both ways challenge you to find yourself, not by showing you or anybody else what to do. No, because I am talking about me. This is my perspective. It's my life, my experiences, and what lessons I had from those. So I'm not a paradigm. I'm not a role model. I'm just a human being as everybody else who share some things and help others be seen through me. But they don't have to be or act like me or the opposite. It's just a way for them to find their own path. That's the challenge.
I like that. Yes, find your own path, and maybe reading your words, either through inspiration or trigger, will align them to their own inner knowing, to their own beingness and uniqueness. Yeah, that's cool. That's an empowering perspective. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I saw Martin nodding his head, and Martin and I actually met through one of the other authors in our book, Julie Bluin. It's Julie's fifth collaboration, and we met through Julie when I was filming Julie for the Gift in Adversity, which is out now, and it's won a bunch of awards. And after we did the filming, I hung around a little bit longer, and we stayed in the same compound or village, gated village. And we used to go to Martin's place for barbecues and music and all the rest of it. And then also Martin used to run the men's retreats while I was there. So I went to two or three sessions, and it was an amazing experience. And that's how I came across Martin's wisdom. He's a very wise man and has a lot of intuitive gifts to share. And how was the experience for you, Martin, in writing your chapter?
Well, first of all, thank you, John, for inviting me into the book and into this lovely call now. It was a really nice experience or a nice opportunity to write the book, and there was definitely some hesitations around it. I think it really comes down to putting my voice out to the world, and I think it's quite human for us to are we worthy enough? Are we good enough? And I think it's just having the right people around me to give me that encouragement, whether that was John, whether that was Julie, to say, you've got something to say, you have got something that could be out there. And I was sort of at first didn't really think what was it I was going to put out there. And then I had this opportunity to go and see these sacred sites in the UK, the Stonehenges and stuff, with a friend. And we decided to go on this trip. And then that's when the magic started to happen. It wasn't just intuitive knowing. The universe or this higher power suddenly started to make things happen. And it's just, and I don't know how I don't know, normally you could I could get myself in the way, and it just happened, and I talk about that in the chapter. And it not just happen to me, it can happen to everyone, and it can be not just large things that are very which can in yourself, or something from a higher power guides you. And I give little ideas around synergies, like things just coming up and just blooming and happening. And then I talk about synchronicities as well, in terms of you could meet people and there's some sort of I don't know how it happens sometimes, but you just end up meeting people at the right moment. I feel sometimes I'm thinking about somebody, and then they come in my space, whether it's in the supermarket or whether it's in the street or whatever. So if you just give yourself an opportunity to release some of these things, then the magic happens. Then the book unfolded. Then suddenly, as I mentioned before, we were in these sacred places. Actually, it was in a place where I was born. So it's like a homecoming. It reminds me of the book of The Alchemist as well. He went all around the world and then came back home, and then suddenly these messages come through me. And of course, I just then recorded them, and then I transcribed them into the book. That was at the core of it, really. And it was all these different experiences that can support people around connecting to their intuition and their inner knowing. And it's fun. It's a fun journey when you just get out the way. The book unfolded, and then sometimes there's a resistance, and then Julie would say, Martin, the deadline's coming up, and I go, oh, all right, let's kick ass and let's put this in a more formatted writing format rather than a channeled version, and then you see the full result. And you start to see the worth, the rewards, wow, what have I just produced, and I'm really excited to learn from others, and I hope people can learn from me with what I've written.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It is a delightful read, and one that has its own flow. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the feedback that you'll receive. Thank you for stepping up. And Kiki, I wanted to ask you, you shared a lot about not knowing. Can you speak into that paradigm for us?
Yes, and that is why the title of my chapter is The Art of Not Knowing. Because, okay, I'm not going to say the words of my chapter, but okay, that's the whole point. We live in a world of duality, polarities in our lives where we live right now. So we cannot experience one thing unless we have the experience of the opposite of it. So in order for us to know something, to not just to know intellectually, but to have it deep down inside our psyche as a knowingness, something as a truth that cannot be dismissed, no one can question it, and it's just true. Sometimes you have to experience the lack of it, because that's where we live. We live in a world where if we want to know what love is, we have to produce it ourselves by living in some situations maybe where love does not exist. Or kindness. What is kindness? You can find it maybe in circumstances where there is exactly the opposite of it, where you see that there's not kindness at all. So it's like a push from the universe, as Martin said. It's an invitation. So you have to deal with something by recognizing what you have in front of you, accepting it, and you always have the choice, because we have free will. And the choice is, you see what it is, and then you accept it, but you have the choice to do and experience the totally opposite of it. So for you to know something, it's very important to not know it in the beginning, maybe sometimes. At least for me, this works. And what I'm saying is that many people believe that they don't know anything and they are in the middle of nowhere. And this is hopeless, isn't it? It's helpless. They're fully in despair. I want to show them that this is the biggest wisdom to have and to acquire, by acknowledging that you don't know anything. And living in the unknown is where all the magic happens. But it's scary. It's very, very scary and very uncomfortable. Oh, yes. But that's where the magic is born.
In the not knowing, yeah, I love that, and the polarities of the human existence, and there's like ancient philosophies that talk about this, but it's so it's very prevalent that mostly through the human experience that we get an understanding of what we want by first experiencing what we don't want.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to, is like, well, what do you want? I don't know, but I don't want that. Okay. So what's the opposite?
Sometimes you have to take the opposite path in order for you to find the right one for you. That's why there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. Mistakes do not exist. Simply as that.
Yeah, so true, so true. Yeah, I think we're on. Yeah, and you definitely dive a lot deeper about that in your chapter as well. We've had Masha that's joined us. Welcome, Masha, and we've just been chatting some introductions. And how does your inner knowing communicate to you? Is it like a nudge? Is it through numbers? Is it through synchronicities? Is it by not knowing? How does your inner knowing communicate to you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, John, for your question. To me, it's through the feeling. It's through the feeling. Like the feeling is basically the language that life speaks is a feeling with human being, because we feel like, I mentioned it in my chapter. It's like a game hot and cold. Like when you look for something, when you're seeking, and you're like, like this game, like you hide something, and then cold. Oh no, like North Pole or South Pole in your case, like too cold, like the opposite direction, and then like warmer, 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 hot, hot, like you're on fire. So basically, it's that feeling that if you're getting kind of it's like you clench your fist and it's like a clenched feeling. It's only means that you will not know, you will not see clearly, because you like clenched. So but when you're quiet, when you're relaxed, when you're listening to your inner self, your kind of not inner self, like kind of more kind of essence of yourself. That's where the knowing comes from. And then you get a good feeling about something. You feel like, yeah, why not? Or interesting. And then this is the feeling, and the feeling guides you. So if you follow in the good, but not emotions created by the positive thinking, like not that feeling, like the feeling that, okay, I just think positive and I feel good and this will guide me, but I can think positive about anything. Like we can think positive about human beings are amazing, but actually not to be guided by your own thinking and the personal feeling produced by our personal thinking, but going deeper to this original feeling that, like, the babies, they're an example of that feeling, how they're just shiny, just this life with wonder and shiny eyes.
Yeah, there's such like awe and expansiveness about babies. They have big auras, big energy.
Yeah.
I like that, and yeah, you use some amazing analogies in your chapter as well, and I'd like to come back to those in a moment. I just wanted to ask Martin, how do you know if you're not aligned with your inner knowing? How do you know if you're not on track?
Are you
That's a
asking
very,
me or everyone? Oh, Martin. Mm-hmm.
Martin, yeah,
how do I know if I'm not on track? Yeah, that was the
yes,
question, isn't it? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, if you're not on track, if you're not aligned, if you're not aligned with your inner knowing.
I'm definitely not in flow. I'm definitely not feeling vibrant and alive. I'm definitely not feeling excitement about life. I feel heavy. I feel constrained, constricted. Uh, Probably I can feel like I'm in my head, with some headaches. Definitely not moving forward. You know, they're 180 degrees difference. In terms of how my body and how my way of being is.
It was almost like, yeah, rowing upstream. Things are
Yeah,
harder, more difficult. You've got to like effort more. It's almost like you're forcing things. If it
yeah,
was a feeling in your body, it might be a shrinking feeling rather than an expanded feeling.
yeah, and I probably what's so really good about that question is it when you're not in the flow, you feel amazing and it reminds you to be in that. When you're constricted, is to really bring some more awareness into that, and you might be doing things that aren't serving you, unhealthy habits, or doing things which are making life or complicated or difficult than it needs to be, to simplify things. Just it's good to sometimes, I think, when you are feeling those different challenges and those heavinesses and not knowings, as we were talking about, it's just to sometimes come back home and be mindful and aware and observant. And am I connecting to my higher self? You can ask yourself that question, you know, and or if even if I want to go about and do something You know, oh, shall I go and do this activity? Is it in alignment with me? Is it with my higher self? That's the question you can ask yourself. And you can get the result. Either it feels alive and enlightening, or it feels heavy and dense. You know the answer there. Go with the light flow.
Nice. I like that. I like that. And Kiki, what does it feel like for you when you know that things are aligned and you're inner knowing and you know your actions are one.
My inner knowing makes it known that I'm in not knowing. That's how I know. Okay, let's do this again. Let me say it again. My intuition and something inside me immediately tells me to observe, like Martin said, which I think is very, very important, and to just be aware of myself when I feel that I am, as you said, out of track. For example, a couple of days before, now this week, for no reason at all, I was feeling very, very off. I mean, 100% true. I'm telling you now. It was a mixture of many, many feelings without any obvious reason, and sadness, grief, anger, frustration, overwhelming, like it was quite overwhelming, I must say. So I saw it, I felt it, I breathed with it. My inner knowing told me to accept it. I was out of line, as you said, out of the path that you feel light, that you feel in flow. I was in exactly the opposite side. Okay? Exactly the opposite. I felt it all, John. All. I just said, that's fine. That's fine. These things must pass through my body. They must be felt. It's very, very difficult. But by breathing consciously, that helped me a lot. And even I cried for no reason at all. Nothing. There was no reason. It was exactly the opposite. On the contrary, I had many, many reasons to be happy, to feel blessed, to feel gratitude. Yeah. But this happened. So I let it. And the same day afternoon, I was a totally different person. I felt like I was flying. I was a free bird. So, yes, many, many times I am off track, as we say, because I am a human, like you, like Martin, like Masha, like everybody else, like all the readers. And that is fine. That's what we are. We are made to feel everything. So even when we feel that we are out of alignment, it's okay. It's in the program, let's say. Just be aware of it. Just notice it, observe it, and accept it. That's my advice. That's what I do. That's what I did a couple of days before. So I'm telling you, it was very hard, but I was so happy when I made it. And I said, yes, that's it. That's it, guys. No suppression. No to dismiss anything. No distraction out of it. No hide from it. Nothing. Just acceptance. It's hard. Yes, it is. But everyone can do it.
Yeah, I like that. Allow it to move through you without judgment. No, Martin.
Exactly.
Yeah, Marsha really resonated with that as well. Yeah, that's sage advice. And I was curious, Marsha, you seem in your life are exposed to your inner knowing earlier on, and there was this one particular experience where you're out sailing, and the conditions changed, and you really had to trust yourself. Can you speak into that a little bit, that experience?
Yeah. I think when we're younger, when we're children, we follow our inner knowing without noticing it. We just don't know any other way of living. We just guided, well, we can say like guided by your heart, kind of like living by your heart. Like children are a very good example of it, living by their heart,
Yeah.
not by their rational mind. But then they grow up and they're surrounded with people who unlearn that for different reasons. Yeah. So we get exposed to a world of a rational mind, world of a intellect, knowledge, reason, logic, SWOT analysis world, all these things. And some of us later, some of us earlier, we adapt to this world because we're learning how to live in this world of other people who were there before us, who kind of, we think they know better. And sometimes we get confused because their voices are so loud and so serious and so big. And we're so small, like we are physically smaller. But, and I say that to me, it was like a living in two dimensions at once, to live in that world of expectations from outside, to fulfill those expectations, because you try to find your place in this world of bigger people, of adult, and then at the same time living in this world of your dreams, world of your heart, you can say, that is only your own. And you try to protect this world from everybody else around because it's very precious. And to me, I saw that somehow I cannot reconcile these two worlds. I couldn't. I lived two kind of different lives. One was very quiet and invisible, just for some moment when I was diving into reading the books, and there's just wonderful stories of adventures and heroes and bigger things to do in life. And another one when I was trying to adapt to the world of human being. I was born and raised in Soviet Union too, so the system, the logic, the ratings and evaluation and analysis and judgment everywhere, a lot of judgment. And I was lucky to have my father, who is very good at living from his heart too, and to have my mother, who is very hard, empathetic person. But still I was struggling because the whole world around me was not like that. And I think there were moments that I was doing art, for example, when I was just losing myself in drawing, or I was losing myself into writing my journal, my crazy ideas and dreams that I didn't want anybody to see because it was so personal. Or the sailing. There was another thing that would kind of allow me to feel free when I was sailing out on the river, in the deep waters. There was the moment like you lose all the awareness of that rational world. You just follow the flow of the wind, and you use your sail, and it's amazing. So to me, it's a beautiful metaphor for this adult living as well, which is not always about sailing per se, but just about any other field and like way. And then if you understand how it works, you could actually use it. So it's not by accident, because when I was a child, I didn't know how to keep it for myself. I didn't know how to have it always. Like I just had to really hide away from everyone to have it, to feel it, or out of the sailing. But when you understand that it's there for everyone, once you understand that you are the creator of your experience, that your inner knowing is guiding you to create your genuine, your unique, beautiful expression of life, when you understand that your thinking is the way you create, like and when you understand it, that it cannot imprison you, because it's your creation. But when you don't know, you get afraid of, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be, this is how I should be, these are the rules. But no, it's all our creation, because we may just not be afraid of it and go back to the heart and go with the flow, kind of, yeah, get the sail of the, like, put our sail, set our sail, and use the wind of life, so it will just really move you forward and into this beautiful way of creation. So I'm really glad that that I had those moments. But everybody has those moments. Even now, when you're falling asleep and you get quiet, or when you're lost yourself into art, or even a conversation with your favorite person. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many different ways, and yeah, it was interesting how as a child, you just didn't. I guess there was this fear that I might lose it forever, and how precious it was, and the need to protect it. Yeah, that's some beautiful analogy there. Thank you so much for sharing. I was just wondering, listening to you, Masha, for you, Martin, is there ever been a point in your life where to honor your inner knowing, you needed to disappoint someone else, maybe like the big humans in your world, just to honor your inner knowing?
Yes, very much so. Around family, parents, they had the strong expectations for what I um, should be doing in life. I was in the family business, and still have some connection to that in doing some sort of activities. But it was, and they felt disappointed when I decided to go to Mexico, to go and do another men's retreat, and then I extended my stay after 5 weeks, and I'm saying this publicly, and I'm sure my dad will hear this, but sometimes you have to just share it to the world and be vulnerable. And this is what this call is about. And he was disappointed. That would be the word. Disappointed that I was stepping away from the business, in terms of being very active in the projects and stuff. But there was something deep inside me that the team was ready to move forward. I'd train them to be with higher responsibilities, more motivational work by giving them higher responsibilities. They were more ready to take over when I wasn't there. And I think there is more acceptance now of what I'm doing, what I'm writing, and allowing me to choose the path. And I still have that resistance with family, and I think it's really important to understand myself more. I've learned about how enmeshed and how close we were, that I didn't have my own independence and space, so I've been growing that. And I think that's very important for us to be aware of our relationships and dynamics and put boundaries that are important for us to move forward. So at a soul level, and then you can move forward. Now I have options about where I want to go with the dynamics. Before it was very heavy, strong. Before that, before I went to Mexico, I was a bit like Eat, Pray, Love. I was praying every day to God, higher power. I just can't carry on with this business. I just can't do it anymore. And I surrendered. I let it all go in my own mind, let go of the money, let go of the wealth, let go of the property, let go of everything. And then the magic started to happen. And that's another book, I think. But it took me on a journey of a transformation into men's work, going on Craig's men's retreat, then following Craig to Mexico, and then understanding more about how I could be in Mexico in this beautiful retreat center and so forth, going to enjoy the rest of my journey in South Central America. A bit like The Alchemist, sometimes these stories, ancient stories or similar stories, play out in very similar ways, so we're all on our journey, and I believe we all have to go through challenges and people that sometimes have that in their mind their best interest for you, and I do agree with that, they do, but it's also about finding yourself, and that is what is so beautiful as we've been talking about in this call. It's opens your heart, it's a completely different way of being, just so alive, so free, so just allow the flow, just allow yourself to be taken on that journey, and see what unfolds, and the magic does unfold. It's difficult to explain if you haven't done it, but hopefully the book that we have written, all these things, gives people insights to know that things are possible. And you've got 14 authors writing stuff that really opened your eyes. Then they might start to think, okay, maybe there's more to this. Maybe there's something I need to consider. And that's how I've learned about my journey. You meet the right people at the right time to show you what you need to know. And yeah, I'm so happy to be on this path.
Yeah, and just to commend you on the courage that it took just to stand up for what you knew as your truth, as your inner knowing, and to have the courage to follow that. That's not easy, and you share a lot about how you follow. There's different ways that your environment can connect and communicate to you. So maybe in a little bit we can touch base and chat about that. But I wanted Kiki, if you don't mind, if you would like to just speak into, were there times where you felt like you were trusting your inner knowing, but actually you were on the wrong track? Initially you thought it was your inner knowing, and then you're like, hang on, this is not my inner knowing.
This is a spoiler. Okay. No spoilers. Spoiler alert. Ring, ring, ring. Yes, of course, I had a false inner knowing, and of course, I describe it in the chapter that I wrote. And if you asked me the same question as you asked Martin, I would say that let's say the most important person that I disappointed was myself. When at some point of my life I thought I had such a strong inner knowing, so strong, so free, so solid, and so fearfully I followed it until I finally realized that it was not a true inner knowing. So I had to really trust the authentic one and surrender to the unknown. And of course, I disappointed my old self, you can say persona, false persona maybe, because I was supporting it so much and I couldn't even realize it until I lived it. I experienced it, the opposite, as we said before. Exactly, I had to experience the paradox that we have to experience. And then I realized that, yes, I was following a false inner knowings, because we have those, we can have those. And so you may ask me, okay, so how can you discern between the true and the false, maybe? Yes, because everyone can have both. So my answer to that would be the true one is soft. It's like a hum. It's not making you anxious or worried or frustrated. It's something soft inside that you just know. It is not pushing you. It's not urgent. On the other side, because I have felt it, the false one is exactly the opposite. It makes you very, very stressful, very anxious. It makes you afraid. It makes you angry. It makes you want to change everything at once, immediately. Otherwise, there is a danger. And you think that this is an inner knowing, but it's not. The authentic one, it's soft, it's subtle, and it's so sure, I could say, about itself that it doesn't have to shout it out, you know? It speaks softly, but you have to shut off the noise outside to be able to listen to this soft noise, because it's the strongest one, finally.
I like
I'm not
that.
saying anything else. I challenge people to read all the book and they will see what I mean in my chapter. They will
Yes.
see exactly what I mean.
Yeah, you're being a little bit abstract just because you don't want to give too much away, but your chapter is not abstract at all. It's very, this is how it is, real life experience. It's raw, it's
Yeah.
vulnerable, and yeah, readers will get the full picture when they read your chapter. So thank you for sharing. And I was thank you, Kiki and Marsha. I was wondering what can people do to increase their connection and relationship with their inner knowing?
Thank you for asking that. It's very interesting, even the way we ask sometimes, that implies the certain answer. Like when you ask, what do you think people should do? Yeah, like it implies that we are so used to that. And that's the world of our rational thinking, that to reach something, we should be doing stuff, like doing something. Yeah, like action is required. And I know that you it's not what you meant. I just stood out
I
to
actually
me.
said
Yeah.
connect. The word I used was connect. How can they connect? What can they do to connect and build a relationship
Yeah,
with
what
it?
can you do to connect? It's very interesting because it's, yeah, but I mean, yeah,
You're
I
saying
said
don't
about
do
doing.
anything and you'll just connect with your inner knowing.
Yeah,
So do the opposite of doing.
yeah, I'm answering
Don't
actually. That's
meditate,
what I'm doing. Yeah,
don't
yeah. I'm
sit,
using your
don't get bored.
question to go to the answer.
Yeah.
Because first thing is, being alive, we cannot not be connected. Because this is the same knowing that informs our brain that our hearts needs to keep beating when we're asleep. It's the same knowing. It's the same knowledge that powers our whole existence, physical body of a human being. It's not a separate, oh, this some separate non-material, not matter, like kind of from different dimension knowing. So basically, to be more aware of that connection, I would rather say that, to be more aware that we're connected. Well, there are two things. One is very on the surface. It's to understand the logic of it, which how we usually we use our brain is we want to understand the logic of it, but then we need to keep reminding ourselves that, because we tend to forget things that we remember if it's just an information. So it works, but not really long term, and it still take work to keep it on the first screen of our memory. But the more genuine, natural, and a true way to be aware of the connection and hence experience that connection more, but that's what we're going to, right, is to really get an insight which nobody can give you. Well, no other human being from outside can give you this kind of glimpse into this wisdom. Yeah. So you need to really see for yourself that this exactly what is going on, that we are always connected, that we're always guided, starting with our body and as a human being, as a one cell in an 8 billion of people in the world. Yeah. And just when you really know it, it's like I don't know if you guys ever changed your place where you lived. Well, you guys probably did. Yeah, you moved like in the scope of the one city. Like you moved somewhere else, but your work or school still was where it was. So you walk out of the office or the school building, and by habit you turn towards the old way where your apartment or where your house was, and then you're like, I don't live there anymore. That's not true. I don't need to go there. This is where home is, because you had experience of moving to a different location. So you just know that you don't live there. It's not like they told you you don't live there, but you've never been to that new place. So you have no idea. Like you have to where do I live? Or the same with 2026 is just started. And people who do a lot of paperwork, who sign date on the documents a lot, I bet they start writing in January still 2025. Oh, no, I know it's 2026 because, you experienced the new year and you, I don't know, celebrate it or something. So it takes personal experience to get from not knowing really, not to be aware, but still experience that from time to time, to really be aware and now have a different level of consciousness about it. So when you understand how this nature of our experience works, and I really like to use the three principles metaphor, based on Sydney Banks' discovery of how our human nature works, that when you understand the system, that how this basic of our experience and our potential work, you just use the system more productively, more healthy, more wisely. So to intensify your experience of connection, you just need to really get an insight about it, to really see it, not just to get the information. And that's the book, because John, you just so beautifully put together this constellation of beautiful people who actually share the experience. So I think the book has two dimensions of experience there. First is just you get the information, you hear our stories, you hear how we see what we see in the world, how we see life, how we connect with our inner knowing. But then if you just, dear reader, if you just let yourself quiet down while you're reading, there's going to be a different dimension of that book, of that work that we were privileged actually to participate in. And you will get into the state where you might experience just what we're talking about.
Cool. I like it. I like it. Get the book and learn more. And yeah, it can be hard to share a concrete example of your inner knowing. I had a clear one 2021, Jules Children's Home. I was going out to volunteer. I had big bags of rice on my bike. And I was always so excited to go out and do this social giving. And before I left, I had this shrinking feeling in my heart. I was like, something is not right. Like, I'm not meant to go to this place. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense to me at all because I love doing this so much. So I just thought, I was a little confused, and I just thought that maybe it just means be careful and there could be trouble ahead. And so I proceeded with caution, and lo and behold, there was a landslide up ahead. It was probably about 5 to 10 Ks up ahead. There was a landslide. I thought, aha, that's why I was feeling so constricted in my heart space. And I just thought, you know what, I'll just ride around. And it'll take me a little bit longer, but it'll be fine. I'll get there. But I still had this shrinking feeling in my heart. And I was so confused. I just went home, meditated, and I came to with this knowing. I knew that there was an orphanage nearby, which made no sense at all because I was in Ahmed, which is surrounded by fishing villages. There's only scuba divers and free divers, and that's it. There's nothing else around, definitely no orphanages. And so I thought, and second page of Google, I had a look at the listing, orphanage. Nearest orphanage to me is what I think of what I typed in. And on the second page, a listing came up, and it was about 40 minutes away at a place called Amnipura. And it's in the middle, it's very remote. And I called the number, and a guy answered. He goes, well, I'm not part of the orphanage, but I live nearby. The listing's not in the right location, but if you go in that vicinity, you'll find it. And sure enough, I found the place. I drove in, and the woman came out with some children, and she said, are you here to answer our prayers? Had tears streaming down her face. And I was, yeah, she could see the bags of rice, and I had condiments in the seat, and I think I had some noodles and things as well. And it turns out they didn't have enough food to feed themselves for the next day. They had enough for that lunch and dinner. And I was, yeah, had tears in my eyes, and I just couldn't believe it. And then we went out shopping, and we've been supporting them ever since. That's Jill's Children Time. And I feel that that's really a concrete example for people of what your inner knowing is, that it can communicate in so many different ways. For me, it's my body, and more specifically, my heart space. If it's a yes and I'm aligned, it's effortless, it's joyous, my heart's open and expanded. Certainly don't need to make anyone wrong or right. I just go with the flow and things unfold. But if it's the opposite of that, or I need to, as Martin was saying before, if I really need to focus in on something, then it's more of a shrinking feeling. It's something to explore. It's an awareness to explore. And so I was curious, Martin, do you have like a concrete example of an experience that aligns with your inner knowing, something that's just grounded in the here and now?
Sorry, John, can you repeat that?
Do you have like a concrete example of experiencing your inner knowing?
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't listen to it. But I found out later that it was important. That's just the one that's coming into my head. I was at the Sacred Stones of Costa Rica. And I've been getting this calling to go to the sacred sites, as I talk about in the chapter. And it's an example of where the stones were telling me it's not time for you to do some work and development around developing a community. And I didn't listen because I'd already employed somebody, I'd already started doing the work to do some research on developing a community. And the stones were saying it's not the time, you know. And yeah, only later, 3 months later, did I learn that when I'd finished, because it was a 3-month project to try and do like a study, that I should have listened to the stones. And sometimes our will, our determination can overpower that. And in hindsight, I've learned now to really learn about that inner knowing, to go, I've got to listen to this, because as a child, as we grow up as a child, as a baby, we learn from when we do make mistakes. We put our hands in hot water, you know, those things. It's a baby. So it was a very profound thing. I think it's just different examples. I can remember my coach saying to me before I did my travels is, "Man, you're not diving in. You're just doing scratching the surface around my food and diet." And I went, you know what? I've been thinking for 9 months to like declutter my house. It felt right. So I got my friend to then help me to declutter my house and my office. And then We did that for 5 days. And then the following month, I went on my men's retreat in England. And then I learned about men's work, how men go through the same sort of things. And then it just felt right, following this path, felt right. Yes, I want to go. And Craig was this amazing men's coach. And then he was going to see his teachers in Mexico. And it just opened me up, It felt right. And then did 5 weeks there. And then week 4, I went, I don't want to go home and back to the family business. There's something inside me that's calling me to go and stay longer here and connect with this community of lovely, heartwarming people. Really help me blossom and grow and understand myself and understand about some yoga and things that are going to help me grow, all these tools. And then, of course, it can go on, but the idea is it's feeling it, and it's just really strongly feeling it, that my whole body is saying this is the way to go, and is learning when you don't listen to those messages, because they can have effects on us, but it's all learnings. It's all part of the journey, as Kiki said earlier. It's all part of, nothing wrong, and it's just enjoying the journey of life.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Martin. And before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share, Kiki?
I personally would like to say one thing that's really important, which I didn't get a chance to say, was, yes, I had this thing around my dad being disappointed, being in the family business, suddenly going away. But I realized I've got a much better relationship around my parents. I really enjoy hanging out with my dad. We have a lot of fun. We joke a lot more. I think we've understand each other and how we've evolved and grown. I see how I have a healthier relationship with my mum. And I really want to put that in, because sometimes we don't mention these wins, which are so a big part of who we are, our family, our parents, and who we are. And to realize how much I love them and adore them, and how much they love me and adore me. And it's helping me open my heart, because I have been able to close my heart. And we talked about that earlier. And learning to open my heart to life and what's out there. And the people of my heart, and to really not to judge them, and they have their own journey, and just to appreciate people who cross my path and to be with them, because we are social beings, and it's about connection and relationships.
Absolutely. And I feel that that's wonderful that you shared that you came full circle, the relationship with your parents, after being true to your inner knowing. So I feel that was important, to just, you opened the gate and now you just close it gently. So that was very nice. I have to go. It's quite late here in Thailand. And so I just wanted to give Kiki and Masha just a couple of final words, just quickly, please. So Kiki, if you would like to share something, something that doesn't give too much away about your chapter, or maybe something you wish you knew maybe 5-10 years ago that you know now.
I have no regrets for anything. And my last thought, what I want to say is that in my chapter, at least, the people will see that some relationships cannot be the same after, when you see something that cannot be unseen later on. And that is fine. There doesn't have to be a happy ending all the time, or an ending at all. It all comes back to you. And I really appreciate everyone in my path, whether it's a family, it's my family, friends, everybody that I've met. They all played their part, their role in their growth, and also in mine. Because as you will see in my chapter, this is all, let's say, an agreement that has been done earlier before. That's what I believe, that's my perspective. So the lesson that I had, even from my family members too, or everybody that I've met in my life is a blessing, and it doesn't have to have a happy ending or an ending at all, because that's what true love means. It means acceptance, unconditional. That's what love is for me. And I truly love everyone that I mentioned in my chapter, and everyone that hears me, and you and my co-authors, and you, John. I appreciate you so much. I'm so grateful for having met you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the chance that you gave me to express my true self. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's an honor and a privilege. And yeah, thank you for your final words. And yeah, there's just so much depth to what you share and write about. I know that readers are enjoying your chapter, and those that haven't, I'm sure they will. So yeah, thank you for sharing. And it's been an honor. And Masha, do you have any final thoughts or?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, like, our world today, when I hope that people who are seeking a rest for their soul will want to read this book. And because when you're guided, when you follow your inner knowing, like this source of the wisdom and true design of life, then you're stop fighting, you stop being exhausted, because you stop resisting life. And I love what Kiki just said about, I have no regrets, and it all served me, it all was for good for me, and it's just beautiful. And how Martin said that he reconciled with his parents. That the same thing to me is true as well. But I really want to encourage you to open up to this opportunity of connecting through this book with your inner knowing, and to discover that you are much bigger than you think you are, that you're much more valuable than you think you are, and that what you do and your way of expressing love, whatever it is, in your relationship, in your work, in your art, in your career, whatever you're doing in this life, it is vital. You're important, and your inner knowing, when you're connected to it, will guide you so you would see it clearly. And I wish you just that.
Awesome. That's a great way to wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys. It's been awesome connecting with you. And you can get the book, the ebook, for 99 cents on Amazon. You can get the Audible version for $9.99. That's USD, or the paperback for $15.50. And we'll have the links where you can actually connect in with either Martin, Masha, or Kiki, or all three, and also the links where you can actually download the book. Thank you, guys, and to be continued, I'm sure. Peace out.